like, come out, come join us. So the Asian American Film Lab is a nonprofit. We've been around since 1998. It was actually, Jane, started by a group of writers. They were Asian American writers who had gained some success. You know, studios were interested in their scripts, but many of them had written scripts with Asian American lead characters, and they were told, well, yeah, we would like to buy your script, but if we buy it, we're gonna recast it with a Caucasian lead. And they were like, oh, no, I don't wanna do this, this will ruin my script. So it began with this group of frustrated writers that just wanted to talk about their frustrations and drink heavily. And but it turned into, then they decided, well, why not? Because people pay for script workshops, it's a ton of money. Why not create our own script workshops where we give feedback and we work with each other and we help develop each other's scripts? And then it became, well, why not bring in professional actors to perform the scripts and help even more? Well, why not open it to the public and have the public come in and be aware of these amazing new diverse writers, these amazing new diverse actors? And so that became only one of many programs that the Film Lab runs. That's called our Unfinished Works program. But we do, we do several things, but we do one, education, which is part of creating this national dialogue, this discourse, creating this vocabulary. So you're all invited. On October 7th, we're running an event with Time Warner, Turner, and HBO on perceptions of beauty in media, the consequences of judgment based on what we look like rather than who we are. And it's going to be pretty amazing. I hope you can all come. If you email Jane, I'll get you all free tickets. Like, really, it's a small room, it's fine.
And there's also a lot of links in your materials to different Asian
Yeah, and then the second thing we do is outreach and support. So we do workshops for everybody. So if any of you are closet writers or actors or directors and you want to come to a workshop and direct something, write something, even if it's something very small. Maybe you've written one small scene and you're like, you know, maybe someday this could be a pilot or something because something really funny happens in your law office. I wrote a whole web series based on my experiences as a lawyer. And, you know, bring it in and we'll have actors read it, or if you are an aspiring actor. If any of you are litigators, you're already actors. It's true. So just, you know, come in and do that. Again, they're every month. All of them are open to the public. Most of them are free. And then finally, production. We do production. So we produce a television series. We produce film. Right now we're in production on The Opposite of a Fairy Tale, which is a movie actually about elder abuse, particularly in Asian American communities, but in all our communities. But it's a fictional narrative. But yeah, so these are events that I think are really great fun for everybody. They're not just for people in entertainment. And it's very helpful for creating your own opportunities and empowering yourself. Because one of the things we were like, well, there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of, I wish somebody would give me a role. I wish somebody would write me a script. And then it's like, well, you know what? How about we just write our own scripts? Why don't we just produce our own stuff and we'll give ourselves the roles? You know, why wait for somebody else to do it for us? So the Film Lab is all about just, you want to do it? Do it. Empower yourself. And we'll help you do it.
And could you talk a little bit about the 72-hour?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Sorry, this is like actually our highest profile event of the year and I completely forgot about it. The 72-hour shootout is an annual filmmaking competition in which, and we actually start rolling out in March because a lot of we do have actual production companies that compete in it, but we also have people who have never made a film before and shoot it on their iPhone. So we start in March and we begin rolling out a series of free how-to workshops. So we teach you how to just shoot a basic film, how to shoot a microfilm, what to do about sound, makeup, costumes, all these things. How do you do it on a budget? How do you do guerrilla shooting? So we run a whole series of workshops to help you. And then usually in May, we announce a theme, May or June, and we launch the shootout. And the shootout lasts for 72 hours. You form teams and you create a short film of 5 minutes or under based on that theme. We bring in celebrity judges, so our judges have ranged from hip-hop icon Russell Simmons to ABC's executive director of casting Marcy Phillips to playwright David Henry Huang, all kinds of amazing people. And the judges select their top 10 favorite films. Those films then premiere at the Asian American International Film Festival. They then go on to show at the Asians on Film Festival in Los Angeles, the New York Indian Film Festival. We show them on our television series, Film Lab Presents, which airs on a couple of different networks, and also on our online channel, which is AAFL TV. And then we'll have a sort of smaller shootout screening at the Time Warner event, where Time Warner and HBO actually select different films, so they're not necessarily the ones that judges select at the top 10, they're a little different. So the ones, for example, for this year that they selected were based on these images of beauty, like what is beautiful and why are many races and sizes marginalized and omitted from these, media constructions of what is given to you as beautiful, and what that means to us as a society. But it's a really fun way to bring people who are not necessarily filmmakers in, and you get to create a movie. And the event I've been the president of the Film Lab since 2012, and in my time since 2012, the event always sells out. It's a really big deal. People come from all over, and the prizes, generally we work a lot to get mentorships for our filmmakers. So this year they got mentorships with ABC and NBC in terms of the writing workshops, the directing workshops, and the actors got to go in for screen tests. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun, and it's a way also not just to create our own opportunities, but also to forge bridges with the mainstream and say, hey, look what we can do. Like, wouldn't you like to have a piece of this? So it's a very fun thing. But I encourage you all to come out, even if just to watch the films.
And one other interesting thing that I found about what you were doing is, because you are the content creator, you also have the power, you have your First Amendment right to express yourself as you would like. And I feel like you've taken advantage of that when you were talking about reverse casting. I was wondering if you could just talk about the reverse casting that you do.
Sure. So when I first came out in 2012, a lot of what I was trying to push for, we had very few women behind the camera. We had a lot of women coming and saying, I'm an actress, I really hope I can compete, please write a role for me. Okay, I'm gonna sit in the corner now. Come talk to me if you have a role for me. And I was like, oh my God, women, come on, stand up, like, write your own role. So we were really trying to get more women involved, and we were trying to get a lot of the mainstream involved, so a lot of casting directors and agencies coming with us and saying, oh no, we really want to support diversity. But there was a lot of talk and very little do. So we decided what we'll do is we will launch our own production company. We will source talented Asian Americans, both male and female, but we're going to really focus on some females too, to write, to direct, and to produce. And then what we'll do is we'll take the traditional mainstream model, which for contemporary American casting is white on top and Asian or that other on the bottom, and we'll invert it. So basically white is on the bottom, Asian Americans on top. So it's still diverse content. We still have people of all races and types in there, but we just inverted the model. And then what we'll do is we'll market it total market. So we're not saying this is Asian only content. This is content for everybody. And the idea is to see, well, is that real? Who will watch it? And so we started out on New York City Life on the Municipal Network, and it did extremely well. For some of it, we had over 1 million viewers. So, and we were able to actually look at these viewers and see who's watching the television series, which stars Asian Americans in contemporary American roles, and has a little bit of playing with gender roles and things like that. And I think it was, I might be a little off on these percentages. I think it was something like 70% Caucasian, 20% African American, and then a 10% of mix of other Latino, Asian, which actually is sort of in line with roughly our population. So it was a very nice mix of people watching it. And interesting, do you want me to talk about what happened with the title?
Sure, yeah.
So this was interesting. After we'd done, I think, 4 or 5 seasons, it was like after 4 or 5 seasons, this was we began under Bloomberg and Catherine Oliver, who were very supportive and very excited about it. And then when de Blasio came in, it's municipal, so everything changes up and there's all new people. And they were more interested in, I'm trying to think of the word, dividing their content by ethnic groups. And so they said, well, we'd really like you to retitle the show to put Asia for the name. And we really pushed back on that. We were like, well, why should we race label it? Because this is a show of contemporary American content. And although Asian Americans are in many of the lead roles, it's a diverse show. We cast all races. And one of the shows we just did was on Stop and Frisk, which affects more of the African American community, and so in that we have a lot of African American actors. So what is the reason for the race label? And they said, well, we just want people to know what they're getting. And I personally had a real problem with that logic, because if I had a contemporary American show with white people, would I have to call it like the European show, like the Swedish show, just so people would know what they were getting? Would people be upset if they turned on a contemporary American show and saw Asians? Is that what the suggestion is? So, so that was a really interesting question, and actually so we ended up, we took a hardline stance on it, and we said we will not race label. We won't do it. And they said we won't show it if you won't race label, and we said that's fine. And so we moved on. So we show on Crossings TV, we show on Live, we show on Time Warner Cable, we show in a bunch of other places. But that was really disheartening to me, because I think that, you know, well, content that is, you know, kind of like what we talked about with Empire and with Fresh Off the Boat, and this content is very specific for sort of about one particular ethnic group, has its place and is great and is interesting. There is also a place for diverse content, and there's a place for us, and by us I mean Asian Americans, to simply be Americans. That's okay too. So that was an interesting experience.
So Adam, I was